me feeling like I'm Josh. Okay. You got me feeling like I'm Josh Allen. Yeah. Josh. Yeah. Got me feeling like I'm who? Josh. Yeah.
The Buffalo Bills beat out the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday in Orchard Park, 28-21, to go 6-2 on the season and push the Chiefs out of playoff contention for now. We're going to discuss all of that, trade rumors, Brandon Beane moving some money around, and a lot more on this episode of Circling the Wagons. Let's go!
To my friend Nate and all the listeners of this podcast, no one circles the wagons than Nate Discate. Circle the wagons, Buffalo.
Where else would you rather be than right here, right now?
Hey, let's go Buffalo. Hey, let's go Buffalo. The Bills make me wanna.
What is up, Bills Mafia? Welcome to another episode of Circling the Wagons, a Buffalo fan base podcast. I am your host, Nate, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on this tremendous Victory Monday, where we're just going to discuss the Buffalo Bills win against the Chiefs yesterday, 28-21 in Orchard Park. Went down to the last play, but the Bills played tremendously throughout that entire game. We're going to talk a lot about that. We're going to also, go along with, what we normally do, stats of the game, sweet, sassy, molassy plays of the game, wall of fame, wall of shame. And we're also going to hit on some trade items, some trade topics to talk about since the trade deadline is tomorrow. Got some rumors going around, players, positions that we're hoping that the Bills look at and Brandon Beane takes a swing at, and a lot more, man. We have a lot of things to discuss in this episode. But first, I'm joined by my co-host, John. Buddy, what is going on? How are you feeling as a Bills fan?
I'm pretty good. That was a needed victory. If you look at the standings for the AFC, obviously both the Bills and Chiefs are not first in their divisions, but this was a very significant game for both teams because of that.
Yeah, we were talking before we got on, and I was with you. I looked at this game, and if people follow us on Twitter, X, or wherever, I wasn't super confident in this game at all. This wasn't a game where I looked at and I'm like, oh, the Bills, I think, are going to take this one. I looked at this game more of like, well, the Chiefs are hot. The Bills haven't proven anything the last few weeks to show that they can handle a shootout, right? Like they've handled, games where they were able to run all over teams, or the defense came with a bunch of turnovers. We'll see what happens. But the Bills put one of their most complete games together as a team this season at the exact right time, right? Because, so much goes into this. It's not just a win over the Chiefs. It's the potential to have the number one seed, right? I mentioned how the Chiefs are out of playoff contention now. They won't be. Like, they'll get back into it somehow, and they'll probably end up winning the division, I think, in some way, shape, or form. But
I don't know about that.
No?
I'm pretty high on the Chargers, and obviously the Broncos are in the lead anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Chiefs do make it in, but I think it's going to be a wild card. I don't think they're going to win the division.
Interesting. Okay. It's going to be.
But
I'm never
means that the Bills might still have to play them.
Yeah, exactly. You still want to have home field advantage over them. Blah blah blah. But yeah, it's a good spot to be in. The Bills, like I mentioned, put together the best game. Josh Allen, who had been a concern heading into this game as far as, getting on the same page as his receivers, guys getting open, him throwing accurate passes even, it had been a struggle for him recently, and he looked great yesterday. James Cook again running the ball well against a really good Kansas City Chiefs defense. I saw an interesting stat that said that when other teams score 20 or more points, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are winless in those games this year. So shout out to the Bills for scoring 28 points against a really good Chiefs defense. Joe Brady, I thought, there's always some plays that, you wish you had back, like that 4th and 1 play where I think it was a play action pass in the first quarter, and Josh, ended up getting pressure and he had to dump it off. And the guy, Shakir wasn't ready or was completely covered, one of those things. But, hats off to Brady, because I think he played a really or he called a really good game for the Bills. And then the defense, pass rush nonstop. Even when Michael Hoyt got injured, which we'll get into later, I mean, the pass rush was nonstop. Joey Bosa was legitimately everywhere, all over the field, and they made it really tough for Mahomes to get his footing. I mean, John, that's what stopped the Bills from being able to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs, is the lack of pass rush, right? Like Patrick Mahomes just sits back there, and eventually Travis Kelce's open, right? So
Well,
they did.
that's the whole Bills thing for the last like what 8 7 8 years. Let's building a team to stop the Chiefs. Like they're finally getting some production from the defensive line, and that's without at all. They called up these dudes from the random dudes from the practice squad on the defensive line, and then Hoyt got hurt. That was devastating.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to get into that right now because we're still high on the win. But yeah, we'll get into that. I have a Wall of Shame nominee for that. But
same.
yeah, John, let's get right into it. I mean, we're giving general thoughts. I mean, sweet sassy Molassy play of the game, man. I mean, there's a few to choose from. There were some really good plays in this one. I mean, is there anything that stands out to you that you thought of or you wrote down?
Yeah, this was a tough one because there was a lot of good ones. But for me, it was the fourth quarter. Bills are up 2021, like 420, 425 left, I think. It was like 3rd and 10 for the Chiefs. Bosa applied pressure. He hit Mahomes. He threw it up to Worthy, and Harrison came down with the interception. I think that was just like perfect balance of like the pass rush and then somebody in the defensive backfield making a play, like we're used to seeing from like maybe we might be 3 years removed from it now, like back when like Hyde and Poyer were back in the defensive backfield and we had somebody blitzing or a pass rush kind of thing. I just thought that was really great, and it was late in the fourth quarter, so it kind of was a great play.
Dude, what a perfect game for Maxwell Hairston to show up in and have such a big game against, one of the fastest receivers in the league, right? He was, I mean, you people that have seen social media saw him running step for step with Worthy, which the Bills don't have. I mean,
Yeah.
almost all over the field, they on both sides, they don't have a ton of speed like him.
And that's the reason why they drafted him. And there were several plays where he was, at least a few plays where he was step for Worthy that we saw, and it was great.
He held Worthy to 3 receptions on 7 targets for 23 yards. Like that's a good stat line for a guy that good, for a guy that fast, that dangerous against this Bills team, especially a team that, has trouble defending guys deep because of that lack of speed. Yeah, he looked great. Jimmy Harrison is his what up from South Carolina, man. What's up, Jimmy? What's up, Jimmy? Welcome to Circling the Wagons, brother. So I love so my play that I was going to say, obviously the last play of the game when, there Mahomes chucks it up. But I thought what was perfect about that from all standpoints was that, Mahomes is so good. He's so good that like there are times where I was watching him and I was actually fortunate enough to go to the game and I'm watching him play and you get like angles that you don't normally get, but then also you don't get a lot of the replays that you normally get by watching it on TV. So it's double-edged sword. But like, I mean, Mahomes is throwing up a lot of these like 3rd down, 4th down passes, and he's completing them. Like the fact that you could tell he's just like chucking it up there, and he's so accurate that he's getting it to him. So even when you do have really good pressure, like you're not necessarily going to, disrupt Mahomes enough for him to not make a play. But on that one, the Bills only rushed 4 players, and they still got to him with like within a few seconds because we're used to them rushing 4 and then Mahomes moving around waiting for a guy, shuffling around this way, and then he chucks it up after like 10 seconds or something, right? And then something there's a player he's ready for or whatever. He had to get rid of that ball. There was no time for him to wait for something to develop or hope that Hail Mary is just put in a perfect spot where a guy was going to go. It was he needed to get rid of that ball. So Joey Bosa great with the pressure on that play, and then another Cole Bishop breakup. Cole Bishop had an amazing game. We're gonna get to Wall of Fame later, and they were everywhere. The Bills' coverage was everywhere. There were a couple of 3rd and longs and fourth down plays that they weren't there for, but that's par for the course for the Bills. But when it mattered on some of those, they actually made really big plays. So that's going to be mine. But I was also a big fan of AJ Epinesa taking a shot on Mahomes on the sidelines. Do you see that one where he just like
I was
laid him out?
surprised it was not a flag because that would. That's a typical Chiefs flag, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And I don't even know if I would have been upset if they did it. I mean, you're always upset as a Bills fan, but you're like, I didn't think it was. I still think it was a pretty good. Still think it was clean, but that doesn't necessarily matter in the eyes of the refs. They see Patrick Mahomes get hit on the side. He's on the sideline. But then again, like, you have to hit him. You have to hit. Just like Josh Allen. If Josh Allen's by the sidelines and he's looking to throw the ball, you have to hit him unless he's like giving himself up. You have to. Because if he's not, he'll make a play. So you have to at least hit him hard enough to make him think, hey, maybe next time, like, I'm actually going to get rocked for this, right? And he did. It was a perfectly formed tackle by AJ Epinesa. I loved it.
That's good.
It's a it's an honorable mention for Sweet Sassy. Sweet Sassy. Oh, I can't believe how did I not do this, dude? I can't believe
Sweet Sassy Molassie. Get out the checkbook and pay Grandma for the rub down.
Yeah, that was their Sweet Sassy Molassie.
I haven't seen that in a while.
There was the first touchdown was really good. I mean, a lot of honorable mentions. The first touchdown was good. Dalton Kincaid wide open because his defender fell down. I'm like, I don't care, man. I'll take it.
Yeah, the turf monster. Is that what Roma said? It's something like that.
He might have, dude. I didn't hear him. Okay, all right. I wasn't.
Oh, that's right. You're at the game.
I imagine that's something he would have said. No, dude. It was a perfect football. It was a perfect day for football. It was, 50 degrees. And
Oh my
sunny.
gosh, that was an amazing day. Yeah.
And what's funny is I saw from the broadcast on CBS or NFL on CBS, like, they had snow in the broadcast. I'm like, there's not a drop of snow anywhere around here. It was so weird. Like, it was like they made snow just for that broadcast, that pregame thing. I'm like, that's weird. It was weird. It's like, you don't have to force it, man. Like, Buffalo's not always snowy in October or November, right? Like, it was funny. But yeah, it was a good game to go to. The fans were great, obviously, and it's one of the reasons why my voice is a little hoarse, but worth it, man. Worth it. So let's go into Wall of Fame and Wall of Shame. Let's start with Wall of Fame, of course, like we always do.
Wall.
John, your Wall of Fame, man. Who do you put on that?
All right. Well, I got like 10 people, but if I'm going to pick one, I'll do honorable mentions after you pick yours. How about that?
Okay, that sounds good.
I'm going to do Cole Bishop. He was all over the place. Tackles. I think he had a tackle for a loss. He had multiple pass breakups. Cole Bishop.
Ah, man, you stole mine. I mean, there's so many honorable mentions that I'm sure we're gonna get into, but yeah, dude, Wall of Fame, Cole Bishop, for everything you just mentioned, and then you have to add in the fact that, I mean, we've been critical of him. Bills Mafia has been critical of him.
I haven't been that critical of him. I've been high on Cole Bishop still through the whole thing.
It's so good right now, though, that people aren't really talking safety for a trade bait. Like, before, it was like, oh, well, let's get, this guy. We need a safety for sure. Like, that was the biggest worry going into the season, because we saw how it was going in preseason. We're like, oh, this could suck.
My worry, like, coming into like a game like this, like, we had like Jordan Poyer starting and Jordan Phillips. Was Jordan Phillips starting too?
Yeah, Dan Walker, yeah.
Because, Rapp and, from safety at least, Rapp and Hamlin are out. Not that I was very big on Hamlin anyway. I thought he was too slow. But with Rapp being out, Bishop had to step up, and he did. He's stepping up. Like, his rookie year, he was injured early on, so I think that affected maybe his growth. But I've always been high on Bishop, and I think today, finally, he's kind of started to show himself.
Yeah, he is what we were hoping he would turn out to be already. And, you had to give him kind of a pass. He missed so much of last preseason and parts of the season, and then this preseason with injuries. The talent was there. It was talent, athleticism. I mean, the guy had it. We were high on him when he was drafted 2 years ago out of Utah. And we're like, oh, this guy's, or is it BYU?
Sure.
I can't remember. BYU. Whatever.
Yeah, and I wonder, like, having Poyer on the field or being active, like, kind of maybe helped him along a little bit, like the kind of mentorship that when he's on the practice squad, obviously he's there and helping the team and everything, but actually, being on the field at the same time, that might have helped him too.
Yeah, and John Robert brought this up. I saw this over social media. Jordan Poyer hugged Cole Bishop at the end of the game. He went right over to him as the game was ending. I mean, I think it's you don't think about all these other things. You're like, oh, talent on the field, like these really hard skills and hard abilities that you can see happen in game time, like live, right? Like what's happening during the game. You don't think about some of those things like leadership or communication between Poyer and Bishop. Poyer's obviously at the very end of his career, but it sounds like he's mentoring in the way that they wanted him to mentor Bishop and get to that. So get Bishop to another level. And it's crazy to think that, normally you'd never say, oh, I want Rap to be taken out so Poyer could go in. But in this instance, maybe it's an addition by subtraction because he has that, veteran leadership and the ability to mentor the young safety and get him to where he needs to be and really coach him up. So from a guy who's just used this system and been so good at this system for so many years, and Poyer being able to relay this to a guy who's only been in the team for less than a year and a half. So yeah, I think you're right. John, who else? You have a ton of people on your wall of fame.
Yeah, I mean, we already talked about Allen and Cook. Kincaid, I mean, 6 targets, 6 receptions, 101 yards, a touchdown. Awesome. Gilliam, great as always. The pass rush was incredible in this game. Bosa, 5 quarterback hurries, a sack, a bunch of tackles, a couple for a loss. Rousseau, 4 quarterback hurries, a bunch of tackles, half a sack. Overall, as a team, they had 15 quarterback hurries. They held Mahomes 15 of 34, 44% completion rate. Passer rating was one of his lowest ever.
Didn't throw a touchdown.
He was under pressure like over 50% of the time.
I feel like it's that Michael Jordan meme where it's like I used to dream for days like this. This is what Brandon Beane has been trying to do since that first AFC Championship game against them a few years ago.
Exactly, and it's working probably better than it had ever had before, even in those other regular season games where they won. Also, I wanted to mention the third down offense and defense. The third down offense was 7 of 12, much improved, and then the third down defense also much improved. The Chiefs were only 3 of 13 on third down.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
That would have been a good quiz, a good pop quiz, because I would have not gotten that.
I do have a quiz for later on, but isn't probably not as good as that one.
Oh, I'll get that one wrong too. So just hold on to that one too.
Well, that wasn't like a right or wrong thing. It's just like, oh, can you guess whatever? But I don't know. Well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, those are some good ones. Do you have Josh Allen on your wall of fame?
Yeah. Allen, Kincaid, Cook, Earl on there too. But
Bill's all O-line blocking for Cook again.
Yep. Yeah. No, what happened to Chris Jones? Was the offensive line, right? Yeah. Like there was like the Bills, like all facets of the game. I mean, there were a couple of things, right? We'll get into Wall of Shame, but like for the most part, they pretty had a complete game, I thought.
Yeah, John Robert is in again. Joey Bosa for the Wall of Fame. That's a good one. That's a really good one. Again, I thought it was really early when I said this, back in September, but I'm like, Joey Bosa is everything that we wanted Von Miller to be, and we didn't get from Von Miller after the injury, and we're getting.
Miller got injured, right?
The last 2 seasons from Von Miller, yeah.
And it was the same thing. It's the same thing with Bosa. It's like when we got Miller, it's like, oh, hopefully he doesn't get injured, and he didn't need it. And then, oh, Bosa, hopefully he doesn't get injured, and our fingers are still crossed, right?
Yeah. I mean, everyone. That's another thing, like the defensive play calling, the pressure. Give so much credit to Babbage and McDermott for being able to scheme up this pressure because, I mean, think about all the freaking players they've lost on that defensive line. Like, they should be getting absolutely no pass rush based on who they've lost on the interior.
Did you see who they called off from the practice squad, like the defensive tackles and stuff? Like
they look good. Phillips Mathias looked good last night.
Yeah, it's like, Oliver's, and now Hoyt is done. Like this is gonna be. Bosa looks great, and Rousseau looked good too. Like that's great, but Now the depth was the concern because of these other guys that they got hurt.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. And unfortunately, Hoyt out with that Achilles injury. It was confirmed today. The average, here's a pop quiz for you, average recovery time for an Achilles for an NFL player to get back on the field. Not just like recover from surgery, but get back on the field to play on Sundays.
Like a year, right?
12 months, you
It's-
think?
Yeah,
Is that your answer?
sure.
It's 11 months roughly. 11
Okay, so
months.
pretty close.
Could be slightly sooner, could be slightly later, depending on how rehab goes. But yeah, that's the disappointing. John just came in. Daquan Jones is practicing this week. I did not see that. That's great news. We need Daquan Jones back.
Yeah, that's another one. He's been injured too.
Daquan Jones has been out for a while. Ed Oliver obviously went on IR last week. He may potentially come back in January, but we can't hold out hope that he will.
That's
But
tough. Yeah.
before that, though, it's a potential that TJ Sanders could come back from IR. He could come back as soon as I think next week, if at least open the window if he's ready. We never got full confirmation on what that injury was, but it was a knee injury that he had surgery on. It could have been, we would have known if it was an ACL. Like that would have been told.
Also, how good do we feel about TJ Sanders anyway?
I mean, we need bodies, John. We can't be like
I know.
no. But I mean, I don't think he's playing bad. I don't think he's playing. I think he was showing some flashes at points, and then he just got injured in practice, right? Like it wasn't. I don't think he was. I mean, he wasn't making as much of an impact as Deion Walker per se, but he was showing flashes. There were times where he got upfield, in the pass rush, and maybe not a sack yet, but there were some pressures and hurries, and he was doing what we were hoping he was, just not in a larger scale. If that makes sense.
What are your thoughts on Landon Jackson?
I don't know, man. Not good. I mean, they have to put some guys on inactive, right? Because, Javon Solomon's a second-year guy. He's not going to be inactive because they use him on special teams. If that wasn't the case and they used someone else on special teams, I think Javon Solomon would probably be inactive in Landon. I don't know. What's funny is unlike Michael Hoyt, when Michael Hoyt came back from his suspension, like a lot of Bills media members were like, this is going to be good. Like we saw him at training camp. He looks good. He's going to be a difference maker. I'm like, oh, I'll believe it when I see it. Right. And he was 100%. With Landon Jackson, nobody talked about Landon Jackson, like hardly ever during all of training camp and preseason. They weren't like, oh man, look at this kid. Like they were saying some of those things about TJ Sanders and Deion Walker, not a lot, but there were mentions. With Landon Jackson, I feel like I hardly heard anything about him. So right now, not looking great, but third round rookie. I mean, what do you think about that?
Basically, what you just said. I
Hope for more.
just like for a third round pick, you would think he would be involved more at this point, but maybe the development is just slower, and that happens with players. It might be a couple of years, and before you never know.
Yeah, they got time. It's not, you don't need to rush them out. Luckily, this season, because they are getting some production out of their defensive ends. Even AJ Epinesa, like I mentioned, like the game before this last game, he's a game wrecker against the Panthers. So, I mean, I like him this season. I would not start even Javon Solomon over AJ Epinesa at this point, the way he's playing. So,
No.
I know AJ Epinesa is not a starter. He's still depth, but I mean, in depth per se, I wouldn't start hardly. I mean, you'd have to go Rousseau, Bosa, and then AJ Epinesa, right? Like, who else are you playing over him? Am I missing someone? Well, Hoyt when he was obviously active. So yeah.
Then we're talking about the trade targets, right? Like, do you want defensive tackle with like Jones and Oliver being hurt, or a defensive end to supplement Hoyt injury? A lot of people like receiver, but I kind of like, especially after this last game, it's like they can figure it out. They can do the everybody hates thing. I'd rather get defensive linemen with those injuries than a receiver personally.
So here, let me share this. This tweet from Field Yates. He mentioned on X, said the Bills restructured the contract of cornerback Taron Johnson by converting base salary into a signing bonus, a move that created an extra $1.75 million in salary cap space. So the Bills are on the move potentially, I mean, you figure it's for a trade. It's got to be. I mean, all the signs are pointing to that. John, if the Bills do trade for a position, we'll start with position first. If they do trade for a position, you got to think defensive line, right? Or are you thinking potentially, like you just mentioned, probably not wide receiver because of that, but
I think defensive, because of the injuries, I think defensive line is more of a deal. So, or they should focus on that at this point. I think with what they, I mean, yeah.
hmm I'm getting into the point specifically where I want defensive tackle. I mean, you mentioned the two practice squad call-ups. I mean, they had to make them. They only have Ogunjobi and Deion Walker active, like in their 53-man roster. So, I mean, that should be your priority. Now, like, if I had to prioritize them, let me know what you think of these top three. Like, it would go defensive tackle, wide receiver, and then, I mean, and then what? Like, I mean, would you even consider safety? I mean, I consider safety maybe as a potential upgrade to Poyer. Poyer's technically not on the active 53, he's still a practice squad call up. So there is potential to get better at safety. I put that probably over corner at this point, only because we have Hairston back. So that's added depth. And Dorian Strong, he was put on IR. He could potentially come back later this year too. So I think I'd put it there. I think I'd put defensive tackle. We just need bodies. And there've been some really cool names thrown around, like Harrison Phillips, a reunification with a reunion with reunification, a reunion with Harrison Phillips. Like, I would love to have him back. I think he would be a great fit for this. I mean, are you expecting the most tremendous numbers? You never are with him, but like, I think he's a solid addition for that. And you could probably get him for like a 6th-round pick, maybe even a 7th-round pick. So I like that. People are saying Calais Campbell, even I forget how old he is. He might be 38 even now, but he's still
I was looking
an
to say,
impactful
how
player.
old is he?
Dude, he's still an impactful player even at this age. And the Cardinals, I believe he's playing with the Cardinals now. I think they're out of it, or they're not doing so hot. I mean, you're looking at teams like that.
Yeah, you look at like the lower 16 teams, and they're thinking, okay, we need to rebuild. Pick from those teams.
Jeffrey Simmons. I mean, who wouldn't want Jeffrey Simmons? But the Titans are saying they're not going to trade him.
Well, they say that, but
Mazzie Smith from the Cowboys is a potential trade target. I mentioned Calais Campbell from the Cardinals. People are saying McKinley Jackson from the Bengals. I mean, these are all guys that, like, yeah, they're in teams that could be looking to sell, and you wouldn't have to give up a lot for them, and you could potentially afford most of them. Really, at this point, I would take any of those guys. I mean, to me, I'm just like, we need more bodies, but at the same time, it's potential. Like, hey, if you can't get a defensive tackle or the defensive tackle you got, like, I feel like they have to trade for someone, like a safety
yeah,
somewhere as well.
it's got to be an upgrade, even if it's a depth upgrade. So that's gonna be the biggest factor. Right? Like, you can't just willy-nilly like, oh, I want this guy, but like, who are you replacing him with? So, and then like, how big of an upgrade is it, and is it worth whatever the trade is?
Yeah. So, okay, let me put some scenarios for you down. Like Harrison Phillips, Calais Campbell. Like, I mean, all the defensive tackles minus, like, Simmons from the Titans. They're okay. Like, they're not great. Like, these aren't like all pro players that I mentioned, but like Phillips, Mazzie Smith, Calais Campbell. I mean, I would give up probably no more than a 6th, to be honest. Maybe a 5th, and then swap 7th or something. I don't know. What would you give up for like that level of player?
Yeah, I wouldn't give up much.
5th about the most, or 6th?
And maybe a 5th if I felt really good about the guy. I don't know. I mean, what are your thoughts on some of these receiver names they've been throwing out, like Olave?
Well, first of all, I don't think that the Saints are getting rid of Olave. You rarely get rid of your franchise wide receiver, right? Like, I mean, this just doesn't happen that often, especially unless you have like I'm thinking when the Vikings traded Diggs away. Now, mind you, there were other things working on the background, but then they also had Adam Thielen at the time, didn't they? They were about to draft Jordan Jefferson. I mean, Justin Jefferson. You never know, obviously, how that's going to turn out, but I think you rarely do that unless you definitely have a good. I mean, they have young quarterback, right?
Olave's also got like he's been
injury history, right?
A ton of concussions and stuff, right?
I can't remember what his injury issues are, but yeah, that's his big knock. But yeah, I mean, I would love him. I'd take him in an instant. Jacoby Myers, I would do the same thing, even though I know he's probably a little bit more of a slot receiver. But I was listening to the Eric Wood podcast, and he had Richie Incognito on, and he played with Jacoby Myers with the Raiders in Vegas, and he's like, dude's a stud. He's like, he's like, I was not familiar with his work before he came from the Patriots. He's like, he's good. Like the Bills would get an instant upgrade. So I trust guys like that know what the Bills have currently and what they could potentially get. So I mean, we need playmakers on offense, and if he's a playmaker, absolutely. What about you?
I mean, from playmaker standpoint, it'll be great to have a trio, right? Like there was always back in the 90s, there's always all these triplets, right? Quarterback, receiver, running back that you'd always talk about, like Kelly, Thomas, and Reed, or Aikman, Irvin, and Emmett, or that kind of thing. And the Bills don't have the receiver part of that right now. They have the Allen and Cook part. So that would be very intriguing if they had something. I don't think Jacoby Myers is that triplet part.
No, me either. But I mean, you're not going to get that guy, right? Like this far into the season, you're not going to get your
No.
Andre Reed or whatever. That's
No,
for
you
a
got to draft
trade.
him. You got to draft him.
Yeah, you actually have to draft him.
Is
So
it
when
is
you
it
were yeah,
is it Coleman? I don't know.
dude, when you
Maybe.
were talking about Landon Jackson earlier, like I kept thinking in my head, I'm like, which wide receiver was around in the third round that we just decided wasn't good enough for the Bills? Like that's what I was thinking in my head. I couldn't remember because we were looking. I mean, you and I talk off season. As soon as the Super Bowl's done, we go into our big board of Bills needs, and we like break down of what kind of player the Bills have, what kind of players the Bills currently have, and which ones we want them to go after, and they haven't gone after those wide receivers, in a few years. I mean, Keon Coleman, when he came out, like, and this isn't a knock on Keon Coleman, I still think that he can grow and get much better, but I wasn't like a huge fan of him. I wasn't like the Bills have to get him, like I was a couple of other wide receivers in that class. But the Bills haven't drafted any of the wide receivers. They don't draft wide receivers really, besides Khalil Shakir. I mean, how much besides Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir? Khalil Shakir is like almost 4 or 5 years ago now. Like they just don't put a lot of.
He was a 5th-round pick.
Yeah, he was a 5th-round pick. They got lucky on. He's a great 5th-round pick.
Yeah.
So I love the idea of Olave. It's not going to happen. I think the Bills have a much better chance of getting Shaheed, their burner on offense,
Which would be good.
which would be a great, yeah.
Well,
So that's why I think that trade is perfect for the Bills and the Saints, because the Saints aren't relying on him to be the future wide receiver of that team like Olave is. Like Olave is their number one, right? So you can take a number 2 off a team or a number 3 off a team, and a guy that they probably won't re-sign for a ton of money no matter what. I think he was just extended recently, but I mean, this guy isn't the future of the franchise necessarily, right? Like as you can see it right now, but he has what the Bills covet in speed down the field. The Bills don't have it. He's got great hands, make a ton of moves. He's dangerous with the ball in his hands. He's just like a faster Khalil Shakir, maybe with it not as much shiftiness as Shakir because he's so difficult to bring down. And there's a lot to like about him. Plus, like not for nothing, man. Like he returns punts and kicks. Like you can finally get rid of Brandon Codrington because it feels like they're trying to when they make him inactive each week. Like you free up a roster spot by getting him also, which I don't know. We'll see. But
yeah,
yes,
with all these injuries, they're going to probably have to at some point anyway, because what are you going to do?
yeah. John, Wall of Fame, Wall of Shame. Hold on real quick. We forgot to do Wall of Shame. Let's do that one.
Shame. 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 Shame.
So Wall of Shame for you, man. There's not a ton, right?
No, I had a few. I mean, I think the major one for me is kind of a cop out, but it's the Michael Hoyt Achilles injury. I mean,
yeah,
it just like that's just weighing on my mind. That kind of really sucked. If you want to be more legitimate on like actual things, the Prater missed 52-yard field goal with 27 seconds left. That was kind of rough. Chiefs conversion on 4th and 17. That was terrible.
Yeah.
And the Bills failed 4th and 2 on the second drive of the game. Was also pretty terrible.
Yeah, those are all really good ones. The Michael Hoyt injury was the one that I had underlined in my notes. It just sucks, man. It sucks for so many different ways. The fact that he was suspended the first 6 games, he comes back, plays with his hair on fire, and you look at that, and a guy like that, which we had read things about, and you see some of the clips of him, but you don't know until he gets into your system and he's playing how well he's going to fit in. Maybe he fits in terribly and he just can't find his footing, or in this situation, he plays the best football he's ever played, and he's a key member of the defense. And when you look at a long run into the postseason, you point back to like this guy being part of it, right? Like this jack of all trades. He moves into defensive tackle and pass rushing downs at times, but then he also plays on the edge. You never know where he's going to be. The defense always has to account for him. And then it happens a game and a half in, and it's just like it's like a gut punch, man. Like when you saw him limp over, you're just like, oh, who is that? I think it's a 5. Like I remember watching from the stands, like I think it's a 5. I was like, ah, shit. Like there's only so many different players with a 5 on the defense. I was like, I hope it's not Hoyt. I hope it's just like a twisted ankle or something, minor that he can get over in a few weeks. Just whatever, or maybe like short-term IR. I don't know. And then you see that I'm reading Twitter in the stands, and it's like, oh, good news is he got, he hopped out. They didn't bring out the blue tent for him, right? And then the next tweet is, oh yeah, now they got the cart out for him. You're like, well, that's never good.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't usually happen where they bring the cart out and he doesn't go on IR. Oh, he just got a stinger. Like, oh,
That's pretty rough.
that was tough. The stinks, like I mentioned, 11 months, man. 11 months. So the earliest we get him back is October of next season. So
And what was his contract? Was it
3 years though. It was 3 years, luckily. So like I was really it's funny. I tweeted after the first game. I'm like, I'm glad we got this guy for 3 seasons. I'm like, shit, but I don't want a game and a half each season.
I don't know. And then Oliver's out for the year, maybe for the playoffs, who knows, type of thing. And then Rapp's out for the year, like all these guys. Hamlin, I mean, not that like I think Hamlin was a key piece,
But
but there's a guy. It's another guy that's out for the
Dwayne
year.
Carter, a defensive tackle, he was supposed to be a rotational guy. Like he was supposed to be one of the major rotational guys, until certain things happen, and he's out. He definitely. I mean, he tore his Achilles in August. He's not coming back until at least August or so. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just if it wasn't for major injuries, man, like what would the Bills? How many Super Bowls could the Bills have been to potentially?
100.
So all those things you mentioned were great. I don't really have anything to add to that, John, for the Wall of Shame. I think those are really good ones. What about this one though, as a potential ad? Because I saw a lot of people tweeting about this, a lot of people mentioning this. Is Sean McDermott's timeout usage? What do you think about that one being on the Wall of Shame?
So I think some of it was good, some of it was bad. Obviously, the defense wasn't prepared on a couple of plays where they had to call a timeout. They're like still like looking back and like talking to each other while like they're about to snap the ball. So like obviously you have to call timeout because they're definitely not prepared. So that was good, but at the same time they weren't prepared. So is it chicken or egg kind of scenario? But
So one of the guys I was with was like pissed every time McDermott called a timeout. I was like, "What are you doing?" And there was one time where it's 4th and 5 that the Chiefs were lining up for the field goal, and McDermott called the timeout, and everyone's like, "What are you doing?" Like they're just about to kick it.
you're always seeing the kicker.
The guy next to us was like, no, that's good. He's like, they were lined up off sides. He saved them a 5-yard field goal by doing that, or 5-yard penalty by doing that, potential first down for Mahomes. So I'm like, if that's the case and he saw that and he called a timeout, freaking best timeout ever to do that, right? Like you saved potentially 4 points by doing that one timeout.
Yeah.
If that's the case. And luckily it didn't. At first I was just like, this seems really odd. I don't agree with a lot of these. But at the same time, it's like they didn't end up biting them. And McDermott, for the most part, knock on wood, has been really good with timeouts lately. So I think you're right. I think it's got to do with communications. And hey, man, if that's the way it's going for now, that's fine.
Yeah, I think it worked out. I'm not too upset about that part of it. I think you're good.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to give you a trade scenario, but first I want to ask you if something that's going to be on your wall of fame or wall of shame. First thing is this cup I got from the Bills game. They were selling it at the bar, like if you bought a drink. And I'm such an idiot. I always get these kinds of things. It's like, oh, what's a normal drink? Like 10 or $12. But if you pay $20, you get the commemorative, like, well, shit, like I might as well get that. So this
Yeah,
is like a
they do that
plastic.
at Disney too.
Oh yeah, yeah. So what do you think about this one? Farewell season. It's like a plastic like shaker, like a mixer. So I
You
can make it
know,
into a mixer.
no, the cup looks cool. You know what I have an issue with is calling it the farewell season. I feel like that's kind of weird.
Yeah?
Like farewell. Like what does that mean? Like I
Goodbye.
feel like it's a negative thing, right? Oh, goodbye. We're leaving.
Later, Buffalo.
I realize it's across the street and everything, but it's kind of weird to think, especially like all those years. It's like, oh, maybe Bon Jovi's gonna move into Toronto and all these other things, and it seems weird to me to call it that, the farewell season. They couldn't think of a better name for this season
Yeah,
than the farewell season.
that's a good point. I guess never thought about it. It doesn't bother me in that way. I don't think I look at it as like, do you think it's a little bit more too emotional by saying that? Like it's putting too much into it? Because I
I,
think
I I'm not that emotional about it. I just think it's weird.
you're kind of dead inside, I think, a little bit. So maybe that's why.
Maybe.
No, I think they're doing it. I think they're trying to play on people's heartstrings more than they should, which I get, man, because you're marketing it, you're selling it. They're gonna sell so much stuff from this stadium, dude, that they're not gonna oh, here's a piece of the end zone from Highmark Stadium. You're gonna get like a little plaque for $300. They're gonna do that with everything, and so maybe this is just part of that marketing thing. It always comes down to money, right? Like how are they selling something to do with this or that? I think there's a lot of people though, especially older than us, that have gone to the stadium for 30, 40, 50 years, and that like are really going to miss this. So I think it really plays to them, but I get it. I kind of like the idea.
It's
It's like
just
a
across the
commemorative.
street.
It's just I mean, it won't be when the new stadium is there. There's bulldoze that thing to the ground, but after they picked it all from things that they
Oh
could
yeah,
sell.
but like they'll go to the new stadium, which is
Yeah.
years away from the old stadium.
What's crazy about when I was at the game, and I only go to like one or two games a year, maybe. And let me know if you, because I know you said you're thinking about going to the Bucks game. When you're there, like you're walking, and obviously it's across the street, so it's not that far away. But when you're walking through to the stadium to go to the game, like there's clearly like a few football fields at least in between the stadiums, at least, right? Like it's a big difference between one stadium and the other. When you're in Highmark Stadium and you can see the new stadium in the background, it looks like it's about 10 feet away from the other stadium. Like it's insane how close it looks. Like you feel like it's right there because it's so close. It's maybe because it's so big and Highmark is so low because they dug it out. Like it's under, it's actually below the ground, but it looks like it's right on top of it, which is
Right,
crazy.
but a lot less seats,
But a lot less seats. Yeah.
which is a whole nother thing.
I was talking to so the guy I went to has club seats, which is really cool. I haven't been to club seats that often in my life, but this was one of those times, and they're always great seats. He was saying club seats right now go for about $3,000 for the season, right? And he's like, if you were to get the same club seats, like I don't know, Pepsi Club, Jim Kelly Club, whatever they are, right? If you're going to get the same seats in Highmark or the new stadium, it's about $6,000, which is kind of what you expect, double the price, right? Like that's a lot of money. But what's even more money is the 25 grand you have to lay down for your PSL just to have the $6,000 seats. And that's where it gets hard to stomach because he's like, even my company's not paying for that next year. He's like, that's crazy. And he works for a good company. So it's like, that's crazy. Like who else is paying for those besides companies or unless people are just selling crazy like individual tickets, right?
And you can do the 3,000 one.
I know now 3,000 doesn't look so bad. Why the hell were we doing that this whole time?
Remember when we got season tickets at the Rock Pile and it was like $450 or $500 for the whole year?
Bro, I was gonna say like 275. Like I think it was under 300 for those tickets.
Yeah,
I
you
think it
know
was
what?
like
That might have right. I might be thinking like parking and food. Like I think I was in my head already like the total cost. But you're right. The actual season tickets were less than that.
Part of that might have been though because they had a Toronto game, I think, even at that time, so it was a little bit less, or 7 games,
One
maybe.
game less, but like it was like 9 or 10 games.
200. You could
But
barely buy one ticket.
preseason was included and all
Oh,
that,
preseason
right?
was, yeah, of course.
So yeah,
Now
it
you
was
can't buy
that
a
was a
ticket
good.
for
It was
$250 or something. It's almost hard to buy a ticket, an individual ticket that way.
that's crazy.
It is, man. It is. Anyway, so okay, so you give that my cup like Wall of Fame or Wall of Shame, like you don't hate it, so I think you can go Wall of Shame.
It's whatever. What do we want to do?
It's neither. I nothing that cup. Thanks. All right, cool.
I got a trivia question.
Oh yeah, go to your trivia question.
So like we're talking about like everybody knows that Allen's got tons of rushing touchdowns, most in Bills history and I think quarterback history at this point for rushing touchdowns. He passed Cam Newton. But Josh Allen career rushing yards, as far as franchise records are concerned, he is currently 5th all time for
Really? Rushing yards?
Bills rushing yards. And he needs 24 yards to get to number 4. Can you name the current top 4 running backs in Bills history for rushing yards?
Definitely get the top 2.
I figured.
I mean, OJ, right? Top 2.
Yep. Thurman's
Thurman's number 1.
11,000 something, and OJ's 10,000 something. So
Jeez.
yes.
The next one is gonna be, did he play like while we've been fans, or was this before our time?
No, while we're fans.
While we've been fans, you're like before. Yes, they would.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Fred Jackson. Number 3.
Correct.
All right. So number 4 is probably someone that's not been in our fan before.
In our lifetime, but you might be kind of young.
So it's got to be
during his
before
time
Thurman,
with the
obviously,
Bills.
or at least like the very beginning of Thurman's career. But he was a starter in 80. When did he come out? 88, 87?
Thurman, yeah, Thurman was 88 to 99, and OJ was 69 to 77, and this player was in between the two.
This is gonna sound stupid because I'm so ignorant when it comes to the players before I was born. But like, is it like Cookie Gilchrist, or was he a wide receiver? I don't remember.
No, Gilchrist was a fullback, running back type, but he was like he didn't have a ton of yards. How many yards did he have?
He's like not even top 10. Okay, cool. Oh, is it?
He's 13th.
It's like Booker Edgerton or something
So
like that.
what part of what makes this question hard is that the Bills, like as a team, have had lots of 1,000-yard rushers, but the thing is they've had lots of different running backs that have rushed for 1,000 yards outside of Thurman and OJ. That makes it harder, but no. So he was 1980 to 1985 for the Bills. After the Bills, there was a contract dispute with the Bills, but he did end up playing for San Francisco and then eventually Indy and Miami, but only in limited time. But his rookie year, he had 1,100 yards and 11 touchdowns for us. 1980, he made Pro Bowl 3 times for us.
Dude, I cannot think of another running back. I'm being 100% honest. I can't
This
think of
is
another
like
running
the Chuck Knox era where he had good defenses.
I mean, I don't have a name to
Joe
give you.
Ferguson was the quarterback.
By the way, cool that they had Joe Ferguson at the Legends of the Game with Jim Kelly. That was kind of cool. Shoot, dude, I don't know. I can't even.
Joe
Who?
Cribbs.
Joe Cribbs. Oh man.
Also played in the USFL. But yes, so Allen needs 24 yards to pass him to become 4th all-time rushing for the Bills.
That's crazy.
And to pass Fred Jackson, he only needs a little more than 1,200 yards.
Dude, that's crazy. While we're on this topic, that's a really good quiz, by the way, which is crazy that he could be 4th. And he's what? Is he 30 this year or something like that, right? How do you think Josh is doing running the ball this season?
What do you mean?
How do you feel about his scrambling this year? Like, I mean, him running the ball. Do you think it's pretty good? Better than normal, average, below average compared to past seasons?
Yes. I guess I haven't noticed, so I did have to say average.
I'm watching the game, and this isn't just this game, and I don't know if it's his pocket presence when he decides that he wants to run the ball, because there's always like that was.
He's being a sack more this year, for sure.
he's getting sacked more. But the one thing I thought was always great about Josh was he knew when to pull it down and run it. And it was just like the timing was right. Either, he knew that people were covering or defenders were covering wide receivers, so he would have a lane open downfield or what. But like it feels like when he does decide to pull it down and run it, like he gets a yard or two maybe, or he gets sacked, like you said. And I don't know if that's just lack of
Is it,
confidence or if
or
it's
maybe it's
is
a coverage sack because the receivers aren't getting enough separation.
yeah, but I mean, even when it was coverage before, he would run it and he'd get like 10, 15 yards, right? Like, and he'd slide or he'd like break through a few tackles, right? We've only seen that a little bit. We saw that a little bit last night, but a little bit in general this season. It feels like when he does decide to run it, he's getting tackled from behind. He never used to get like shoestring
Yeah.
tackled.
I think
I'm just,
I
I'm
think
just, I'm just, just, I'm just hoping it's not an age thing. You know what I mean? Like, he's 30, he's just not. I feel like he's still too young for that, right?
I don't think so. I think defenses are just adjusting better.
Hmm. You think that's it?
But
It's
I
not
don't I don't think Allen's slowing down yet.
okay.
I think
Okay.
at some point he will, and I don't want to think about that right now, but I think defenses are adjusting to that, and I think that's sort of what's going on.
Okay. Okay. That's what I'm hoping to because like the week before, remember there was that play where somebody was pulling on his jersey and they had that huge long string of it. Oh, you might have missed it because you were at Disney, but like there's this one where he scrambled around for 10 yards and he eventually got taken down. And I'm like, that's normally not his case. Normally he finds a way to throw it, while he's going out of bounds, or he just, even if he's throwing out of bounds, he's taking more sacks. So maybe
Well, part of it too is like not necessarily that he's getting older, but like I guess it's kind of the same thing. But like the players that are coming into the league are getting younger
of course, yeah.
and faster, so it kind of happens.
Yeah, Big Mike just came in. He said it's felt as if the plays are intentionally being not called for Josh to run the last 2 seasons, and I don't disagree with
Well,
that
yeah,
at all.
you want to do that less as their quarterback ages too. So
Yeah, and Joey Hatch just said he can't be a 25-year-old Josh Allen forever. Man, you don't have to remind me, but yeah, he's right.
I still feel like I'm 25.
You look 25, man. You look great.
Well,
You look better than when you were 25, man. So, but okay, last thing for Wall of Fame, Wall of Shame. I just have to share this last thing. It's a cup that they were selling also at the stadium, which I decided not to buy. So here's like one of these stadium like beer steins or cups or whatever. You see this one?
that's pretty sick.
Pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I thought, man. They were selling them for guess how much?
$45.
So this is if you're not watching, it's like a stadium. It's a stadium cup. It's like all silver. It's got really cool stuff on it. It looks like it was almost 3D printed. The stadium itself is the top of the beer stein that opens up, like the opening of the stadium at Highmark.
I didn't even
Yeah,
notice
yeah,
that.
yeah. Sorry, I wonder if I took
$55.
So I'm like, and it says, it's got really cool engraving on it, like a Bills logo, "Let's Go Buffalo." The Highmark Stadium. It's got the old logo, the new logo. It's really cool. And they're selling them at the bar where the club seats were, and I was like, "How much is that?" Because for some weird reason, I like beer steins. I don't know why. Like I got one. You were mentioning going to Disney. I bought one at Epcot last time. I
Oh yeah,
went.
you have a collection of beer steins.
I have
Yeah,
like 5 or 6.
everybody has something.
Everyone has something. I don't know why. It's just a thing that I like. It's just a cool thing.
Oh,
And I was like, "How much is that?" And she's like, $15. And to me, I'm just like, that's
what?
that's like I will throw like whatever's in my wallet just because I feel like
Oh
that.
my
I was
goodness
willing to go like
gracious!
I was willing to go like 60, like right, like that's not like a good
60,
beer stein.
60, 60 is kind of high, but
But if it was a good like ceramic beer stein, like those go for like $100 easily, right?
$15? Was it plastic?
It's plastic. It's plastic. Now, does that bother you? Because to me, I'm like, like I'm gonna break it.
It
And
looks really cool,
it,
but the it's not the same as an actual thing.
yeah, exactly. What a cool idea, man. It looks amazing. It looks fire. But
You know what they should have done? They should have had like two different versions. The cheap version and then like a nicer version.
yes, exactly. Because I would have bought that nicer version. Like I would have, because there's sometimes where you see like a cool hat, right? Like or whatever. Like you're just like, that's $40. that's not worth it. But like sometimes it looks like so cool. You're like, I'm in love with that hat. Like I don't buy hats. I'll buy that for $40. So anyway, that was my last thing. This is a fake time with Rick Rehem says, do the Bills do a trade tomorrow? Something they need to get, or do they blow the season? I think I mean, based on what we just said earlier with the Field Yates, I think they definitely make a trade. They have something right now, they wouldn't. Brandon Beane, knowing him, he wouldn't just move the money around at 1.75 million just in the off chance they might like trade something. I think that they have something in place verbally, and it's going to be, put down because you have to know by 4 o'clock on November 4th, which is Wednesday or Tuesday, rather. Sorry. So I think it happens.
It is. How disappointed are we going to be? Because we're hoping for the world, and it's going to be something not quite that good. It'll be like a role player or something, but it's not going to be. It's not going to, like, everybody's hoping for like this huge piece to finish the season and get there, but there's no way at this point they're going to get something like that and be able to pay the money for it.
So, John, which of the names that we mentioned earlier at defensive tackle would like disappoint you? Because to me, I feel like everyone that I just mentioned, I'd be happy with. Like it's going to be hard to disappoint me because when you first said how disappointing it's going to be, 100% agree because we're used to being disappointed. But what if they get the Rasul Douglas of defensive tackles?
Well, that's the thing. They could get a nice piece, and I think even like I guess we'll have to see what it is, right?
I mean, everyone I mentioned, I'd be good with because you're getting a player that has experience that could come in and be automatically started as a rotational piece. I'm all in for that, especially considering how well the defensive line is doing in general. With the way that these practice squad guys are being called up. So, I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be that. But even if it's a wide receiver, like I mean, we mentioned Jacoby Myers, we mentioned Chris Olave, we mentioned Rashid Shaheed. I would be okay with all of those as
Yeah, I guess it depends on how bad they think the Josh Palmer injury is.
true. He's not on
Yeah.
IR though, so
We saw Elijah Moore make a big play this week. Kincaid's been doing well. So maybe they don't need to focus on receiver. Maybe it really is going to be defense if they're going to make a move. And I think that does make sense. If they have Cook and Allen, maybe the rest of it they can just kind of fall into place.
yeah. I think Big Mike says, are they thinking end of the year rental or long term? I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be one of the two.
I think
First,
rental.
rental.
Yeah, because the cap and everything, they got to factor all that. And who's up for next year? The cap is already kind of strapped. So
Bills do not have a
I
ton of
think
cap.
they want to get through the season, to be honest.
Plus, you have to add in the fact that there really aren't a lot of teams that usually trade guys that have like another 3 years on their contract left because they usually want to keep those guys because if they're terrible this year, they're gonna think to rebuild. And do you want to let go of your good players? So like Rasul Douglas, he did have another year left on his contract after they traded him. So I think that's the most you're gonna get usually is like, you get a Rasul Douglas who has like, this season and maybe next season on his contract, but it could be voided or whatever. So yeah, I think it's a rental. It's a rental player, which is fine because they just need to get through this season, with one of these guys and then go into it next season. Joey Hatch says, so let me ask you a question. Brandon Beane isn't that good in the draft, so would you be willing to move picks for a good player? Talk about Brandon Beane's history of trading for players. He doesn't have a great history, really, at least especially a wide receiver. Think about Kelvin Benjamin he traded for, remember, and then
Trade for Diggs. That was
uh,
good.
oh yeah, off season, like not in. I guess I was thinking in
Oh,
season.
okay.
But no, that was a great trade. You're right. That was an amazing trade. But like Amari Cooper, like that didn't really amount to much. More of just a distraction for the other wide receivers. I think he hit on Russell Douglas. That was a great trade that he made. Am I missing any other in-season trades? I think that's it.
What was the beginning of that question? You had it on the screen and then it went away.
Brandon Beane isn't that good in the draft, so would you be willing to move picks for good players?
So he's not specifically saying receiver, and he has hit in the draft, but it's typically not at the beginning of the draft. He's hit more in the mid or later in the draft. Although Harrison looked pretty good to start, so
Deion Walker looks good. Jackson Hawes looks good. This could potentially be a pretty decent draft class. Dorian Strong was looking good before he got injured.
Right. And you look at the draft, a few years ago with Cook and was it Cook, Shakir in the same draft? And
Yep, that was Cook and Shakir. Yep,
also
Bernard, Dorian,
Bernard,
not Dorian, Christian Benford. That was a good draft.
Benford. So, yeah, there has been good drafts.
Yeah. When we're losing, we're thinking how terrible Brandon Beane has been at drafting, right?
Well, the only time they lose is in the playoffs, and not necessarily the first game. It's like into the playoffs. Like so we're nitpicking at this point.
Yeah, I think
Really, like remember the drought?
yeah.
Like it's like the drought. Like that was really, really bad. Like after Jim Kelly retired, and like they had a little bit with Doug Flutie and like a sliver of hope with Drew Bledsoe, but after that, it was nothing until Tyrod and then ultimately Josh Allen.
Dude, they were so bad at drafting in the drought. Like you almost had to try, you couldn't try to be that bad at drafting and miss on so many players, you know?
Well, the other hard part was they were playing above their level for so long, where they were like finishing like 6-10 and 7-9 for many years in a row. So they weren't getting a top 10 draft pick,
Yeah,
but not
exactly.
making the playoffs either.
Yeah. Yeah, Joey just said I'm not talking about average players. I'm talking about good players.
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
Rasul,
you want to get you want to draft. I wouldn't even say good. You want to get some elite players, especially with your first pick or two.
I say James Cook
So
is one of the best running backs in the league, so he's elite. Bernard's having a down year. Benford's having a down year. There's sure. And I think that's a good point by Joey because we've drafted a lot of good to above average players, but not a lot of stars. Like think about like the elite
yeah,
stars. I mean, there's been some really good ones. Like when you think of like the 4 or 5 best players in the team, you think Josh Allen, James Cook, Deion Dawkins, Spencer Brown is probably up
yeah,
there too.
yeah. Think about like all pro and
Benford,
Pro Bowl players. Like they don't have that,
yeah,
and that's a good point.
yeah. Yeah, but I think what happens is the Bills trade for a defensive tackle tomorrow, and it ends up being a guy that like we don't even mention on this podcast, and nobody's mentioning because when Rasul Douglas was up for a trade, or when the Bills trade for him, nobody was talking about Rasul Douglas. I mean, the Packers were still in playoff contention at the time, I believe, or they were like 3-4 or like 4-5. They weren't out of it. They made the playoffs that season. Like Rasul Douglas was not on the block. So I think that's what it ends up being. It's a rental, it's a defensive tackle, and it's a player we probably haven't been talking about. Or it's Harrison Phillips. That the stars are just aligning too much with that trade.
Yeah,
But I mean, I'd kind of be excited about Calais Campbell because I know he wants to probably win a Super Bowl. He's older, but he's still impactful. Like that's a cool
yeah,
thing. I'd be in, but yeah, you hate old guys. I get it. I get it. You're ageist. It's cool. It's fine.
yeah. I hate myself so much.
Hey, no, it's just in your athletes, man. You're like Leonardo DiCaprio. Like you only like your players 25 years and younger.
Well, I'm in this dynasty league, so it's hard. But no.
Mhm.
Like I don't know.
Well, let's do our giveaway while you get that thought squared away.
It's I don't have
It's
any
gone. You're like,
thoughts.
it's gone. It's gone. By the way, if you're not familiar, we do a giveaway. Try doing every week on the podcast. We have our last Tito's jersey to give away. We gave away one already. We gave away a Tito's football. Thanks to the folks over at Tito's to donate this stuff and give it to us for some collabs we did with them. So cool. Thank you guys all for listening. If you're interested in how to win one of these giveaways, I got some cool stuff on auction too that we're going to be doing in the next few weeks. Some jerseys, mini helmets, and stuff like that. If you're interested, all you have to do is leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, subscribe to us, comment in during the podcast, like we mentioned, Joe, John, Big Mike, all these guys, they come in on our live streams and be a part of the show, man. It'd be great. So the winner of this week, random thing picker picks, R Sato 8, R Sato 8, and I know who that is. It's Ryan Sato, one of our longest listeners. Dude, Ryan was the guy from. He is the guy from Hawaii who would send us these cool like gift things with like chocolates and stuff and macadamia nuts from Hawaii. Cool dude. Writes a note, and yeah, cool dude. So that was Ryan. Ryan and Chelsea, if you're listening, you won. just shoot me an email, DM me, let me know that you heard the podcast, and I'll get this sent over to you. Good thing about sending something to Hawaii is that you don't have to pay like international fees because it's still like domestic. So something that goes to Hawaii is only like $13 instead of like $40 or whatever it would be to send things overseas. So that's cool. Anything else, John? Oh, real quick, one of our listeners, AJ Tharp, mentioned, he's like, dude, you got to bring back Third and Cole again because Cole Bishop is on the team instead of Cole Beasley. So he's stopping those third downs. So, big
See,
defense.
that makes more sense.
That makes better than Third and Cole for Cole Beasley, right? Third and Cole for big stop on third down, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes fourth and Cole, depending on the situation.
Dude, I'll take second and Cole. I don't give a shit. Give me
I-
third and Cole.
Give me just and Cole.
And Cole. Give me all the Cole Bishop. Everyone wanted him off the team a couple weeks ago, and now he's one of our favorite players.
Idiots. No offense to anybody listening. No, seriously though, like some of these guys, it takes a couple of years, 2 or 3 years. And Bishop was injured last year too, so that didn't help. And you just gotta be in the right situation and the right time and all the pieces align, and hopefully he keeps it up. Like, I've been a Bishop fan since the beginning. There were other prospects that I have liked over the years, maybe better, but I do like Bishop.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, and to your credit, when you call these guys out and you're like, I like this guy, like this is a guy I like, you've been pretty close to being right. And I'm not just doing this just to stroke your ego. It's like, no, I'm looking for ways that you have been wrong over the years. Like, man, this guy, like you like James Cook, and that was the thing. You don't like drafting running backs on day 1 or 2. And James Cook comes around, you're like, I'm really high on him. I really like him. And he's one of the best in the NFL, man. So maybe you're right in this Cole Bishop thing. Hopefully you're right. So I can't remember. Did you like a Kyer Elam when he was drafted? That might have been a guy that you were high on. I really like this Kyer Elam kid. I think he could be good.
I think it was indifferent.
You're like, I want a Trent McDuffie. That's what I want. Cool. So thank you guys all for listening. Appreciate you being a part of the show. Thanks for everyone that tweeted and commented in during the live stream. I don't have any final thoughts.
How about this? So next week, Miami. Do you want to guess the line? It's in Miami.
Let's see. Miami just got beat 23-6 by the Ravens. The Bills just beat the Chiefs. The Bills are going to be favored. I'm guessing it's just going to be just over 1 score. It's going to be like 8.5.
It's pretty close, 9.5.
9.5. Okay, I like that one.
Yeah, and I think I checked like yesterday, and it was like 7.5, so it went up 2 points.
Recency bias, man.
I guess, but like it was after the game was played, so I don't know.
Dude, the Dolphins played the Bills tough that first game.
Yeah.
That was not a runaway game.
What, the Dolphins are also dumpster fire. I mean, they still scare me because like a divisional game. They do have talent on their offense, but their defense is terrible. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to take anything for granted for divisional opponents, but you should win, right?
I know. Exactly. You would think so. It could be one of those games where, like, they play out of their minds and the Bills win by a last-second field goal. It's. Did they didn't fire McDaniel, did they?
No, but they fired their GM.
Mm-hmm. Good. He deserved
So
it.
that means that, and he's been with the team since for 25 years, not necessarily always as GM, but like he's been there for a long time. I think the McDaniel, I think this offseason he's going to be done.
So
they're going to bring in somebody else for GM, right?
Oh yeah. Well, they might. I mean,
sure.
they might bring in some guy that like loves McDaniel, but they're probably going to want to bring in their own guy. Odds are, right?
Yeah, they probably have an interim guy right now, maybe, but they're gonna have a new GM. He's gonna bring in everything's gonna be different. Like they'll probably have a new quarterback next year.
Oh yeah. So the Bills will cover then because the Dolphins don't have that like coach just got fired bump, that the teams are just like, no, it wasn't us.
Well, it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny because when we beat them the last time, people were saying like, "Oh, they're going to fire McDaniel because of all these games in a row," and now here we are again. But like the owner is doubling down. They're like, "Oh no, McDaniel isn't we're not considering firing him, that kind of thing." I don't know.
Oh well,
It's a hot mess either way because I actually do like McDaniel. I think he overthinks stuff, I guess. But
Yeah.
maybe. But they have other issues too, especially on defense.
I like
And
McDaniel as like a story. He's a cool story. He's overcome some things in his life, some addiction and stuff like that. So he's like, and he's not a like a douche or anything like that. Like he's a likable guy when he's not in front of a microphone.
No, and he's kind of like a nerd, like,
Yeah, he
which
is.
is
Yeah.
cool. Like he's got that, like, he's not like a typical coach where a
No,
hard ass, whatever, like a Bill Cowher or whatever.
or
But
Rex Ryan. Yeah.
yeah, but he's got, like, he's got the
He's got nerd swag.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, like I don't know if players dig that as much as they would dig like the Bill Cowher sort of types, right?
Yeah,
Like
I don't know. Yeah,
I
I
I
probably
feel like
not.
that's easier to get away with when you're a coordinator than it is a head coach. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or maybe if he was winning consistently, it would be different too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily, we don't have to worry about that. We got we have things.
Also, as much as I would root for a guy in that scenario, I'm happy that he's failing because it's the Dolphins.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's more the same with the Dolphins. So cool, man. Thanks for doing this, dude. Great talking to you. Talking Bills. Victory over the Kansas City Chiefs. Always a great conversation, man. If you aren't already following us, hit the like, the subscribe, comment in whenever you want. Follow us on, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, TikTok, whatever. Find us there. So thank you guys all for listening. As always, thanks for sticking with us. So for John
Love you. Go Bills.
and for me, Nate, love you too, man. Love you guys all out there. Go Bills, and we'll talk to you guys again.
Thank you for listening to the Circling the Wagons podcast. Download and subscribe to us in your favorite podcast service. Email us at ctwpod@gmail.com. That's Charlie Tango Whiskey Pod @gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at CTWPod. And most importantly, go Bills!
Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills, Nate.
Well, listen, the whole show is called Circling the Wagons. Say no more. I love it.